Holy crap! U.S. household debt surges as young families struggle with loans. Woo, Nelly! Oh my goodness, just straight off the freaking wire. U.S. household debt surges. This is Dateline 2/21/23. So it's literally just like with yesterday, right? Yeah, yesterday. U.S. household debt soared by the biggest amount in 2 decades in the fourth quarter, with younger borrowers in particularly struggling to make loan payments due to higher inflation and interest rates. Households added $394 billion in overall debt, the largest. Oh, oh. Nominal increase in 20 years, bringing the total to a record 16.9 trillion, according to data released by the Federal Reserve Board. All right, so of New York. So remember, the total households added 394 billion in overall debt, bringing the total to a record 16.9 trillion. Mortgage balances, the biggest form of debt for America, drove the increase, but debt grew across the boards, with credit cards seeing the biggest jump in data going back to 1999. Delinquencies picked up, with borrowers reaching 90 days or more at a higher rate than they did before the pandemic. This is particularly concerning for younger borrowers. It's particularly concerning for young borrowers who are disproportionately affected or disproportionately likely to hold federal student loans. There's still in administrative forbearance. All right, let's see. We just talked about the New York's data is in nominal dollars. So let's go look. I just wanted to. So I brought. Here's the data I downloaded myself. Created this little chart. Not able to log it. Don't know why, but that's okay. That's okay. You can see the total debt. $16.9 trillion in total debt, everybody. Now look at this. Back in Q3 2003, it was about a third of that. About a half of that. About $7.5 trillion. And mortgage debt back then was $5 trillion. Mortgage debt now is what we say, 12 point something million, trillion. Mortgage debt was just says mortgage balance is the biggest form of debt. So, all right, whatever. But you can see right quick. I think we can just actually click on that. Yeah, right there. Mortgage debt is 12 trillion, my friends. Q4, 12 trillion. All right, so let's look at some. So I wanted to, excuse me. We're going to look at this right here from the St. Louis Fed. This is the level of mortgage debt for households and nonprofit organizations. 1 to 4 family residential mortgages. Oh my goodness, look how much it jumped. So stupid. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to hit edit graph. And we're going to hit over here. And we're going to go to format. And we're going to log this guy where it's just right there. And let's take a gander, shall we? At the, what? Oh, that's it? Doesn't look nearly as bad now, does it? No, it doesn't. And the reason the log is so important is because of the changes in percentages. It's not the dollar amount, it's the percentages that matter, man. And so if we go back to this chart right here, that doesn't look nearly as scary as this right here now, does it? So what do you think the purveyors of doom are going to show you? They're going to show you that because that looks freaking scary. Look at, oh my gosh, we're all going to die. Oh, not so bad. Not so bad. Kind of weird. So we go back to this guy again, right here. That's literally the mortgage debt we just showed you right there. All right. So the biggest jump, well, I mean, we are still, if we look at this right quick, we are basically at where we were in 2006. Not quite. I mean, I grant you if we change it, but you see what I'm saying. Actually, we can actually look. If we get rid of this chart right here, let's just delete this chart, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're going to delete. I got to go here. Delete chart. Right there. And so here we can see mortgage debt, $5 million in Q3 2023 Q1 quarter one, and it went to 12 trillion now. So it went from 5 to 12, and we take our trusty calculator. We say, okay, so that's what in 20 years basically. 20 is our N. Actually, let's just do this. Make sure that's 1. Blink. There we go. 20 is our N. We start with 4.94 is our present value. 11.92 is our future value. Zero payment. That's a compounded interest rate of 4.5% a year. So it's gone up by 4.5% a year. But if we actually look at what it was, let's see, in 2000 and right, if we start from 2007, is at 9.23. We can cherry pick the blue in the face. But anyway, so you can see 4.5% a year in mortgage debt. Now, home equity lining debt right here, household revolving, went from 0.24 to 0.34. So people are putting more on the first mortgages, and they're hardly putting anything on the home equity line. Auto loans went from 0.64 trillion to 1.55 trillion. Credit cards went from 0.69 trillion to basically 1 trillion. So credit cards went from 0.69 to 1, an increase of 1.87% a year. I mean, student loans went from, that's because this student loan is a Robin Hood, dude. Robbing from the poor to give to the rich. There's no two ways around it. 0.24 is our present value, and now we're at 1.6 is our future value. That's an increase of 10% a year. But no one's going to talk about that. Just the whole thing is such a scam, dude. Look at that, man. That's just no big deal. I'm sorry. Now, if we want to put that into, hold on a second, an equity. Now, I just type in owner's equity in real estate. I don't know if this is just households. It looks like it just says, yeah, households. It doesn't include nonprofits, whatnot. And the other one did include nonprofits. But anyway, you can see the equities, I mean, just through the roof now. If we do the same thing, log it, again, it'll be, the point being is that the level of equity has increased dramatically relative to the level of debt. Look at that, man. I mean, come on. We're gonna get freaked out over. I mean, it's so stupid. That's. I wonder if I can combine those two. Yeah, but it's just owner's equity, household owner's equity. I wonder if I can do total equity. Total debt to equity, and you can see our debt to equity is still way down here. This end of Q3 2022 is way off where it was in 2016. And it's just total debt to equity, man. It's just literally. I'm just throwing everything out there. The idea that our debt is pummeling us, it's just so freaking stupid when you have all this equity built up. I mean, look at that. It's dropped. I mean, look. Let's take a look. Let's log in and just see. I've never done this chart before, so let's look at it. And again, this isn't, I mean, look at that, man. I mean, a huge run, levels, a huge fall from debt to equity. I mean, people are paying their debts off. Just takes a household equity, not including nonprofits, just household equity, owner's equity as a percentage of real estate, household real estate value. And you can see right here, the equity is 70%. So and again, you got to, obviously, every certain person is different, but look at all that equity, dudes. Just tons of, I mean, look, we haven't had this much equity since, 1959? I mean, this is something you're worried about? I mean, it's insane, man. People got more. This is why reverse mortgage. Why would you not look at reverse mortgage? Your biggest source. Look at that. But the bubble's going to pop, Josh. I mean, look, we haven't had this much household equity relative to debt since freaking the 1950s. Oh, all right. So even if this pops a little bit, I mean, let's just say it goes back to 65%. I mean, it still means you have 2/3 of your house is yours, not your bank's. These people drive me up the wall. All right, love to hear your thoughts. We'll see you.